Every man grows up believing women are loyal to love, to attention, to comfort, to kindness. But if that were true, good men would never be left, loyal hearts would never be broken, and effort would always be rewarded. Yet the truth is harsher and far more revealing. Women are not loyal to what you do. They are loyal to how you make them feel. This is the secret most men never understand. You can give her the world, time, affection, commitment, and she can still drift away. Not because she stopped loving you, but because the feeling changed. A woman's loyalty doesn't live in logic. It lives in emotion. When she feels seen, protected, and inspired by your presence, she stays. When that emotional connection fades, even slightly, her mind begins to wander, her body pulls back, and her loyalty starts to dissolve quietly, long before she says a word. Women aren't loyal to your promises. They're loyal to the energy that surrounds you. If your energy inspires security, direction, and purpose, she'll never question your place in her life. But if your energy shifts into weakness, overgiving, or emotional dependence, she won't see it as devotion. She'll feel it as imbalance. And imbalance is the beginning of emotional detachment. The mistake most men make is confusing effort with influence. They think doing more means being loved more. But women don't measure love by quantity. They measure it by quality. She doesn't stay because you gave her attention. She stays because your presence gives her peace. She doesn't commit because you told her she's special. She commits because your discipline makes her feel safe. She doesn't choose you because of what you do for her. She chooses you because of who she becomes around you. That's the truth behind loyalty. It's emotional resonance, not obligation. The man she stays loyal to is not the one who tries hardest, but the one who feels hardest to replace. And what makes a man irreplaceable isn't perfection, it's consistency. Emotional stability, direction, purpose. A woman can forgive flaws, but she cannot stay with a man who no longer makes her feel alive. So, forget everything you do for her. Forget every sacrifice, every gesture, every attempt to prove your worth. Because in the end, women aren't loyal to the things you give. They're loyal to the man whose presence awakens something inside them. Peace, admiration, and passion that no one else can reproduce. That's not manipulation. That's magnetism. And once you understand this truth, you'll stop chasing loyalty and start earning it naturally. Before we start, a quick reminder. The real transformation doesn't happen on YouTube. It happens inside the community. If these videos have opened your eyes, what's inside will rebuild your mindset completely. It's not just a course. It's a brotherhood. A private space where men master attraction, emotional control, and the psychology of power. You don't join for a month. You join for life. Every future course, book, and lesson is yours forever. No subscriptions, no limits, just one decision that changes your direction. If you're serious about growth, discipline, and purpose, click the link below. Join the community. Enroll once, grow forever. Let's dive in. Section 1. The myth of effort-based loyalty. From a young age, men are conditioned to believe that love is earned through service, that if they give enough, try enough, and stay long enough, loyalty will naturally follow. Movies, songs, and advice columns repeat the same idea. Treat her right, and she'll never leave. But reality doesn't work that way. You can treat a woman like a queen and still lose her to a man who barely says a word. Not because he's better, but because he makes her feel differently. Effort alone doesn't create loyalty. Emotion does. A woman's connection to you is emotional, not transactional. You can buy her gifts, solve her problems, and shower her with attention. Yet if your energy lacks direction, she'll slowly begin to pull away. She may appreciate your gestures, but she won't feel moved by them. Because deep down, what she truly wants is not constant validation, but consistent masculine presence. When a man gives endlessly, hoping to be loved in return, he begins to lose his polarity. He becomes predictable, emotionally soft, and desperate to please. She stops feeling his strength. She senses his giving is no longer rooted in abundance but in fear. Fear of losing her, fear of not being enough, fear of being replaced. And the moment a woman senses fear in a man's energy, she instinctively begins to test him. Not to punish him, but to see if his core is still intact. True loyalty is never built through favors. It's built through feeling safe in your leadership. Women follow calm direction, not emotional dependence. They crave the security of knowing a man can stand on his own, even when she withdraws. That's what makes her trust you, respect you, and ultimately stay loyal to you. Because loyalty isn't a reward. It's a reflection of how deeply she feels your stability. The effort myth keeps most men stuck in emotional servitude. They keep performing acts of love without realizing they're eroding the very attraction that keeps loyalty alive. A woman doesn't stay because you give her everything. She stays because you withhold just enough to keep her respect. Not out of cruelty, but out of balance. When she feels that your world doesn't collapse without her, she begins to trust you more, not less. That's why the men who inspire lasting loyalty often appear effortless. They don't chase connection. They cultivate energy. They don't beg for attention. They command respect. And they do this by giving from strength, not from scarcity. So forget the myth that loyalty can be bought through sacrifice. Loyalty is emotional alignment, not effort accounting. Because a woman doesn't stay where she's most helped. She stays where she's most moved. Section 2. Emotional resonance, the real currency of loyalty. When a woman chooses to stay loyal to a man, it's rarely because of logic. It's because of emotional resonance. That invisible connection that bypasses her mind and anchors itself directly in her heart. You can't buy it, fake it, or force it. It's not created by how much you do for her, but by how deeply she feels your presence when you do nothing at all. Emotional resonance happens when your energy consistently triggers the right emotional state in her. Peace, safety, admiration, and desire. Most men think attraction is built by chasing intensity. Grand gestures, constant messages, emotional drama. But those things only create spikes of attention, not depth of connection. A woman doesn't become loyal because you make her feel excited. She becomes loyal because you make her feel steady. Because in a world that constantly overstimulates her emotions, your presence feels like stability. That's the paradox of emotional resonance. The more emotionally stable you are, the deeper her emotions go. Your calm becomes her calm. Your focus becomes her security. And when she feels that alignment, when her energy settles naturally in your presence, her body remembers it. That's how loyalty is born. Not from promises, but from patterns. You've trained her emotions to associate you with balance, clarity, and peace. And once she feels that long enough, she doesn't want to lose it. Every woman subconsciously links loyalty to emotional consistency. If your mood swings with hers, she can't trust your leadership. But if your energy stays firm, her instincts recognize you as the emotional anchor she can hold on to. That's why the quiet man with direction always outlasts the charming man with intensity. One stimulates her mind, the other regulates her nervous system, and the man who brings regulation becomes the one she calls home. You see, women aren't loyal to excitement, they're loyal to emotional relief. The feeling of being safe in a man's presence is addictive. It's what makes her want to open up, to submit, to build. She doesn't want to lead emotionally. She wants to rest emotionally. And that only happens when your energy feels unshakable. So stop trying to impress her emotions and start influencing them. Speak less, react slower, move intentionally. Let your tone, your timing, and your presence become predictable in the best way. Not robotic, but reliable. Because reliability builds trust, and trust builds attachment. That's emotional resonance. The invisible rhythm that ties her emotions to your energy. Once you've built it, she won't just remember you, she'll feel you, even in your absence. And that's the kind of loyalty no amount of effort can replace, because it's not built on doing, it's built on being. Section 3. Why women follow strength, not words. A woman may listen to your words, but she follows your strength. Words reach her mind. Strength touches her instincts. And instincts don't respond to charm, they respond to certainty. That's why some men say all the right things and still lose her, while others barely speak and somehow hold her attention completely. Because to a woman, real power doesn't come from persuasion. It comes from presence. When a man speaks from need, she feels pressure. When he acts from insecurity, she senses instability. But when his strength is quiet, when it comes from inner conviction, not external validation, she feels safe enough to let go. That's what her psychology truly craves, a man whose energy says, "You don't need to guide me. I know where I'm going." Strength, in the emotional sense, is not dominance or aggression. It's composure under pressure. It's the ability to stay grounded when emotion rises. It's the calm that says, "I'm not threatened by chaos because I've already mastered mine." That's the kind of strength that draws loyalty, because women are not loyal to men who win arguments. They're loyal to men who win themselves. Every woman tests strength, whether consciously or not. She wants to know if your calm is real or rehearsed, if your control is stable or fragile. Her emotional tests aren't attacks, they're instinctual checks for safety. When she challenges you, she's really asking, "Can I trust you with my emotions?" And your reaction gives her the answer. The man who overreacts fails the test. The man who stays patient passes it. The man who stays silent and still grounded. He owns it, because strength to a woman isn't loud, it's felt. It's how you hold your boundaries without begging, how you walk away without drama, how you listen without losing control. That's what builds a kind of respect that no charm can replace. She may be drawn to beauty or power, but she stays for strength. Because when your strength becomes her peace, she begins to see you differently. Not as a lover only, but as a leader. And leadership in a relationship doesn't mean control. It means direction. It means consistency. It means emotional stability so firm that even her storms can't shake it. The man who carries that kind of steadiness gives her something no one else can. Freedom within safety. She can relax, express, and unfold, because she knows his energy won't collapse under pressure. So forget the idea that women follow words. They follow energy. They follow certainty. They follow the man who can protect his own peace. Because when your presence radiates quiet strength, she feels something ancient, something primal. Her body says, "This is where I can rest." And once she feels that, loyalty becomes instinctive, because she doesn't have to choose you. She simply can't not. Section 4. The disappearing effect. Why women detach from weak energy. A woman doesn't leave when she stops loving you. She leaves when she stops feeling you. Because for her, love isn't sustained by logic, it's sustained by emotional gravity. The moment your energy stops pulling her in, she begins to drift. She doesn't always plan it. She doesn't always mean to. But her instincts guide her away from weakness the way the ocean moves away from shallow shores. It's automatic. Weak energy repels her because it signals danger. Not physical danger, emotional danger. When your energy becomes inconsistent, anxious, or needy, she feels it immediately. She may not be able to explain it, but she senses that something sacred has been lost. The polarity, the power, the calm certainty that once made her feel safe. And when that stability fades, her body starts protecting itself. That's when you'll see the signs: less affection, colder tone, delayed responses. She's not being cruel. She's reacting to the energy shift. A woman's attraction is like a mirror. It reflects your strength back to you. When your focus remains on purpose, direction, and control, her reflection glows with admiration. But the moment your energy becomes dependent on her reactions, when her opinion starts dictating your behavior, that reflection fades. You stop being the leader of your own world and start orbiting hers. And no woman can stay loyal to a man she has to lead emotionally. Weak energy doesn't always mean failure or insecurity. Sometimes it's disguised as effort. You overtext because you care. You over-explain because you want peace. You over-apologize because you fear losing her. But all she feels is your loss of center. She senses that you're no longer in control, not of her, but of yourself. And when a man loses control of himself, he loses the attraction that once made her stay. This is why the men who maintain power through detachment never beg for love. They attract it back naturally. Their silence isn't distance, it's discipline. Their calmness isn't indifference, it's awareness. They know that trying to hold on too tightly makes the connection slip faster, because attraction, like respect, thrives in space. When your energy weakens, she doesn't just lose interest, she loses trust. Trust that you can handle her emotions. Trust that you can lead her through conflict. Trust that you can stand unshaken when she feels unstable. That's why she disappears, not because she found someone better, but because she no longer feels safe in your frame. So remember this: women don't run from men. They run from uncertainty. They don't fall out of love with your personality. They fall out of alignment with your energy. Because no matter how much she loves you, her instincts will always choose strength. And when your presence no longer gives her that, she won't argue, she won't fight, she'll simply fade. Because to a woman's soul, weak energy doesn't feel like comfort. It feels like decay. Section 5. Why emotional discipline is the ultimate form of masculine power. Every strong man eventually learns that real power has nothing to do with control over others. It's about control over self. The moment you master your emotions, you stop being reactive and start being magnetic. Because while the world rewards performance, women respond to presence. And presence only becomes powerful when it's grounded in emotional discipline. Emotional discipline is the quiet mastery that separates boys from men, lovers from leaders. It's not the absence of emotion, it's the ability to govern emotion. When life provokes you, when she tests you, when chaos surrounds you, discipline allows you to stay calm, centered, and decisive. That steadiness communicates something primal to her subconscious. This man can handle life, therefore he can handle me. You see, women don't want perfect men. They want predictable energy. Not in the boring sense, in the trustworthy sense. A man whose emotions are stable gives her permission to relax into her own. His calm gives her the space to feel, to express, to release. She doesn't fear being emotional around him because she knows he won't lose himself in the process. That's the highest form of safety. And safety is the root of loyalty. When you lack emotional discipline, your energy becomes chaotic. You say too much, react too quickly, and feel too deeply in the wrong moments. You become the emotional one in the connection, the very role she's biologically wired to fill. That inversion breaks polarity. It makes her feel like she has to lead the emotional tone. And that's when attraction quietly dies. Because the moment she starts leading, she stops feeling led. Discipline isn't coldness, it's containment. It's knowing when to speak, when to be silent, and when to simply observe. It's the ability to delay reaction, not to suppress emotion, but to refine it. That patience doesn't make you distant, it makes you powerful. Because every word you say from a place of restraint carries more weight than 1,000 emotional outbursts. A man with emotional discipline radiates unshakable authority. His tone is calm, even in conflict. His decisions are deliberate, even in doubt. His presence says, "You can trust me," without him having to prove it. That's why women stay loyal to such men. Not because they fear losing them, but because they feel safe not losing themselves around them. Understand this. Discipline is attraction in its purest form. It's the silent message that says, "My emotions serve me, not the other way around." And that's the kind of masculine power that women can't resist, because it's rare. In a world full of men controlled by impulse, the one who controls himself becomes unforgettable. A disciplined man doesn't chase validation. He commands respect. He doesn't react to chaos. He stabilizes it. And that's what makes women loyal. Not to his words, not to his gestures, but to his energy. Because emotional discipline isn't just strength. It's safety disguised as silence. Section 6. The only thing women stay loyal to. Men spend years trying to decode what keeps a woman loyal. They think it's love, attention, or comfort, but none of those last forever. Love fades when emotions fluctuate. Attention becomes dull when it's constant. Comfort turns cold when excitement disappears. The truth is, women are not loyal to what you give. They're loyal to how your presence makes them feel. More specifically, they are loyal to one thing only: your strength of energy. A woman doesn't stay because of what you provide externally. She stays because of what she experiences internally when she's with you. If your energy makes her feel safe, seen, and inspired, she'll never want to lose it. But if your energy weakens, if it becomes uncertain, needy, or inconsistent, she'll start to pull away, even if she doesn't fully understand why. Her mind might still love you, but her body won't trust you. And a woman can't stay loyal where her instincts no longer feel secure. Women are emotional mirrors. They reflect the energy of the man they're with. When you live with direction and discipline, she feels protected. When you doubt yourself, she begins to doubt the relationship. When your emotions stay controlled, her emotions feel free. But when you lose balance, she feels unsafe. Not because she's judging you, but because her biology is designed to seek stability. Her loyalty, then, isn't tied to your personality. It's tied to your consistency. That's why men who operate from grounded masculine presence are nearly impossible to replace. They don't offer chaos disguised as passion. They offer peace with power. Their strength doesn't come from dominance, but from composure. Their silence doesn't feel cold. It feels anchoring. Around such men, women feel something they can't fake: emotional gravity. The kind that pulls her closer, no matter how far she drifts. Understand this. Loyalty isn't built through promises or persuasion. It's built through pattern. When she repeatedly feels the same calm, confident energy from you, day after day, moment after moment, her nervous system starts to associate your presence with peace. That connection becomes chemical, almost spiritual. That's why she'll think about you even when you're gone. She's not loyal to your words. She's loyal to the feeling her body remembers when she was near you. So forget everything else: the gifts, the gestures, the constant reassurance. None of that creates lasting loyalty. What keeps her loyal is your energy sovereignty. your ability to remain yourself regardless of what happens around you. Because when a man's energy stays intact, when his calmness never wavers, she feels something that few women ever find: emotional home. And once a woman experiences that level of safety, she doesn't chase excitement anymore. She chases stability. She doesn't want butterflies. She wants grounding. She doesn't crave more attention. She craves more peace. Because at the deepest level, women are not loyal to pleasure. They're loyal to powerful presence. At the end of everything, beyond the love stories, the effort, the promises, loyalty comes down to energy. It's not the things you buy her. It's not the time you give her. It's not even the love you confess. It's the feeling you leave in her heart when you're around, and the silence you leave behind when you're gone. A woman doesn't stay loyal because you made her happy. She stays loyal because your presence made her feel at peace. Happiness is fleeting. Peace is eternal. When your energy brings her calm instead of chaos, safety instead of stress, focus instead of confusion, she attaches to that peace the way the earth clings to gravity. She doesn't just love you, she trusts you. And trust is the deepest form of loyalty. But that trust is fragile. It doesn't come from dominance or emotional tricks. It comes from consistency. Every time you control your emotions, every time you stay grounded when others would break, you remind her that your energy is real. That's what makes her body relax. That's what makes her mind quiet. Because in a world full of noise, the man who remains still becomes the most powerful man of all. Women are emotional creatures, but their loyalty is spiritual. It's not about who excites them the most. It's about who brings them home to themselves. The man who knows his direction doesn't need to beg for her love. His presence already creates a rhythm she can surrender to. He doesn't argue to prove his worth. He shows it through his silence, his patience, his control. He doesn't need to chase her loyalty. He commands it through consistency. That's why so many lose it. They focus on doing, not being. They give everything except the one thing she truly wants: a man who doesn't lose himself in love. Because the moment your emotions become unstable, she stops feeling protected. And once that safety is gone, loyalty can't survive. So here's the truth, the quiet truth that few ever say. Women are not loyal to the man who gives them the world. They are loyal to the man who gives them peace within it. They're not loyal to comfort. They're loyal to strength, not to pleasure, but to presence. You can't beg for that loyalty. You have to earn it through energy. You have to embody the kind of calm that no storm can shake. Because when your peace becomes her peace, when your discipline becomes her trust, and when your presence becomes her safety, she won't just choose you. She'll stay. And that's the silent truth about loyalty. You don't create it through love. You create it through control, not control over her, but over yourself. Because in the end, women aren't loyal to men. They're loyal to masculine peace. Remember, knowledge means nothing without action. If you're ready to rise above emotion and lead with purpose, join the community today at thestoiccouple.podia.com. Enroll once, grow forever.